Happy Halloween! I hope everyone is having a fabulous night celebrating however you prefer, whether that means trick-or-treating or going to a costume party, or like me, maybe you're just hanging out all night with friends, eating pizza, candy, and watching scary movies all night. Also, wearing my Here for the Booze t-shirt, which is obviously in theme with Halloween, but perfectly in theme for my short story that I contributed to Funk and Fiction's blog. They've been releasing one story every night up until Halloween to get you in the mood. And my story is called The Hackover. It's a parody of The Hangover, but it's on Halloween following a disastrous night together after a Halloween party. So if you haven't gone over to the blog yet, highly recommend it. 10 other authors, including myself, have contributed, and just lots of fun, lots of booze. So hopefully you'll like it, and here's a little sneak peek of The Hackover. If the intensity of her hangover was equivalent to the level of merriment at last night's post-conference Halloween party, Harper Reyes had obviously experienced the merriest night of her life. She hadn't even opened her eyes yet, and her head was already protesting against waking up. Every hair follicle was tender. Her mouth was as fuzzy as her memories, and her stomach, no. Better to focus on other pains rather than the current dangers posed by that organ. She inhaled deeply, swallowed, and waited until the churning settled before mustering the strength to open her eyes. Even so, she immediately regretted that decision. Harper blinked at the blurry world around her, once, twice, and kept blinking, but the too bright hotel room refused to focus, which didn't do any favors for her head or stomach, even as she realized that inexplicably, she was wearing glasses in addition to the contacts she'd forgotten to take out last night. She removed the glasses from her face and stared at the familiar black-brown line frames, perplexed. Why on earth was she wearing Dennis's glasses? Something warm stirred under the sheets. Someone, Harper realized, as an arm snaked around her stomach and she froze. One night. That's all she'd needed, just one carefree, dance-filled, drunken night to fling aside her stress and recover from the endless weeks of conference prep with Dennis the Perfectionist, weeks that had culminated in that 10-car pileup of a presentation. But even flung aside, stress always had a way of boomeranging right back. She worked up the nerve, then peeked over her shoulder at the warmth spooned behind her, and groaned. Dennis Hunt in the flesh, with half his sugar skull skeleton makeup from last night smeared on his pillow, was a rumpled mess, passed out beside her. She'd never thought, prim and proper, but that's not company policy, Dennis would ever be caught dead without having ironed, starched, and pleated himself to meticulous precision. So seeing him in such a state of complete dishabille would have been shocking had her body not already been electrified by the sight of him beside her, sharing the bed, sharing a sheet. One long arm heavy over her hip, a well-defined and muscular arm to match the strong cut to his jawline that she may or may not have admired during the 6 months they'd been working together. She couldn't imagine Dennis doing something so unrefined as sweating, but one did not achieve such biceps and triceps and all sorts of seps without working for it. And if there was one thing Dennis did unfailingly, besides arriving early, overanalyzing and triple checking, it was working hard for what he achieved.